Alright, welcome to part 2 of our dynamic paint tutorial. Part 2, we're going to set up our project so that we can render it. Okay, so what we want to do first is right click on the camera and hit delete. And then right click on your plane and do Shift S and select cursor to selected. That'll put our cursor right there. And we're going to go to add camera and then use the blue arrow just to drag it up. And you want to press 0 on your number pad. And you can press G and Z to basically adjust your camera so that it captures everything that's in the plane. And you want to go to render here, the little camera, and under presets do TVPAL 4:3. So that's what we're going to use when we render it. So G and Z will allow you to move this. There we go. Alright, so you want it to look like that basically, where it captures everything on the plane. Alright, once you have your camera set up, you can go through the animation and press F12. And when you do that, you'll notice that the colors don't come out. Okay, this is how you fix it. You want to select your canvas and you're going to go to physics, and under physics you're going to select dynamic paint output, and under paint map layer you're going to click plus, and that'll create a vertex group. And then after you've done that, you want to go to materials, click new, and then down under options you want to check vertex color paint. Remember, our vertexes are what hold the data for the color, so that's why we want to check vertex color paint. Now if you hit Alt A and you press F12, you will see that your colors render out. Alright, so once you have that, we're going to go to dynamic paint effects. So you're going to click on the physics button, dynamic paint effects, and we talked about this in the first one. So hit Alt A, let yours render out. There's 3 different effects that you can do. You can spread, and that will spread the paint out. So you can see that it's spreading it out. I'll uncheck that. There's also drip, which kind of drips the paint, and that one really doesn't work as well for our animation. And then there's also shrink. So you select shrink, click use shrink, and as it goes the path shrinks away. Alright, so under dynamic paint effects, go ahead and select one, and you can change the variables on it so that it gets to where you want it. That's too fast. I'm going to select shrink and put it at like 0.5. Alright, and after you have that, go ahead and right click on the UV sphere. Another thing we can do is adjust the dynamic paint source. We talked about it in the first video. So this is basically, the paint source is the paintbrush source. So if you have it on mesh volume, you'll get a little different result. It takes the mesh of the UV sphere, and that's where it draws the paint from. So you get a little thicker appearance. Proximity, depending on the proximity of the UV sphere, mine is inside of the plane, so it has a lot of coverage, a lot of paint. You could use mesh volume and proximity. That's a combination of those first two. You could also go to object center. And there's also particle system, which you'd have to set up a particle system for, and we aren't going to use that one. So you can go ahead and pick any of these. I'm going to leave mine on Object Center, but feel free to choose any of those. And then once we have that done, we are ready to render. So you're going to go to the Render button. We've already adjusted the dimensions, so it's TVPAL 4x3. The starting frame is at 1, your ending frame should be at 120 unless you made your animation longer. We're going to change the frame rate to 29.97. We're going to change the type of file to an AVI codec, and we're going to direct it where to save. So you want to go to the 506, you want to go to the Turn-In folder, and you want to go to Blender Dynamic Paint, your period, and then just go ahead and name it your last name. I need to take my number lock off. There we go. Click Accept. And then after you've done that, go ahead and click Animation, and you'll be able to begin seeing your animation. And once you're done, you'll have a nice little video.